Yes, I got the shoes. We're right here at the stop. It should be here any minute.
Here is your 2,500-word script, built precisely on the blueprint we reverse-engineered. Karen calls cops on black teen for stolen sneakers. Store employee confirms purchase. $220,000 lawsuit ***. 16-year-old Marcus Webb had been inside Foot Locker on Clement Street for exactly 11 minutes on a Saturday afternoon in September when a white woman named Diane Hollis, age 47, walked up to the store manager, pointed directly at Marcus, and said the words that would destroy the next 8 months of his life and cost her $220,000. She told the manager that the boy in aisle 3 had just shoplifted a pair of Air Jordan 4s, that she had watched him take them off the shelf, remove them from the box, put them on his feet, and walk away without paying. She said it with the calm authority of someone who expected to be believed without question. She said it loudly enough that 3 other customers turned to look. What Diane Hollis didn't know was that Marcus Webb had paid for those sneakers with his own money, $189.99 in cash, tax included, 6 minutes before she opened her mouth. That the Foot Locker employee who rang him up, a 24-year-old named Jerome Pittman, was standing 12 feet away and had watched the entire transaction. That the store's receipt printer had produced a paper record with a timestamp of 2:04 p.m. That Marcus still had that receipt folded in the front pocket of his jeans. And that Diane Hollis had just falsely accused a black teenager in front of a store full of witnesses, in full view of 2 security cameras, at a volume that would be described in court documents as deliberately public. What she also didn't know was that Marcus Webb's mother, Linda Webb, was a paralegal with 14 years of experience at one of the city's most aggressive civil rights firms. And that Linda Webb had taught her son exactly what to do the moment a situation like this began. Before we go further, what city or country are you watching from? Drop it in the comments. We love seeing where our audience is tuning in from. And if you believe paying for something with your own money while black shouldn't result in police being called on you, like this video and subscribe. Now let's go back to the beginning. Marcus Webb had woken up at 7:30 that Saturday morning with one goal. He had been saving since June, mowing lawns in his Excelsior District neighborhood for $40 a yard, taking 3 babysitting jobs through the summer, declining every invitation to spend anything at the movies or the food court, all for a single purchase he had been planning since April, when the Air Jordan 4 Retro Bread colorway restocked unexpectedly and sold out before he could afford them. By September 9th, he had $214 in an envelope in his desk drawer. He had checked the Foot Locker inventory app the night before and confirmed that the Clement Street location had his size, a 10.5, in stock. He had told his mother where he was going. He had taken the 38 bus, arrived at the mall at 1:48 p.m., and walked into Foot Locker with the focused energy of someone completing a mission they had planned for 3 months. Marcus was not a child who drew attention to himself. He was a junior at Balboa High School with a 3.4 GPA and a spot on the varsity track team. He worked 2 jobs during summer break. He didn't smoke, didn't get into trouble, and had never in his 16 years had a single interaction with law enforcement. He wore a gray hoodie, dark jeans, and the beat-up New Balance 990s that had survived 2 years of daily use and were the reason he wanted new shoes so badly. He found the breads in aisle 3, asked Jerome Pittman to bring out a 10.5, tried them on both feet, walked to the back wall and back, decided yes, and brought them to the register. Jerome rang them up at $174.99 before tax. Marcus counted out $189.99 from his envelope, took the change, took the receipt, folded the receipt, put it in his front left pocket, put the box in the Foot Locker bag Jerome handed him, and walked toward the bench near the front of the store to sit and put his new shoes on. He put his old New Balances in the box. He put the box in the bag. He set the bag between his feet. He had been sitting there for approximately 4 minutes when Diane Hollis walked up to the manager's station. Store manager Kevin Tran was 29 years old and had managed the Clement Street location for 2 years. He knew his staff. He trusted Jerome Pittman, who had worked there 18 months without a complaint. When Hollis approached him and said she had watched a black teenager steal a pair of Jordans, Tran's first instinct was to ask Jerome to confirm what had happened before doing anything else. It was the right instinct. He didn't follow it. Hollis pressed. She said she had watched the boy very carefully. She said it was obvious what he had done. She said she had seen him do it step by step. She used the phrase, "You need to do something about this," twice in 90 seconds. Tran, feeling the pressure of a loud adult customer and uncertain how to manage the escalation in a store full of Saturday afternoon shoppers, made the decision he would later say he regretted for months afterward. He called mall security, and then, when Hollis said she didn't think mall security would be enough, he called the police. Marcus was still sitting on the bench when two officers from the San Francisco Police Department walked through the front door at 2:19 p.m. Officer Brian Calloway, badge number 4417, arrived first, with his partner Officer Rachel Dunn a few steps behind him. Calloway looked at the manager, who pointed at Marcus. Calloway walked directly to the bench where Marcus was sitting and told him to stand up. Marcus stood up. He felt the familiar tightening in his chest that he had been warned about, that specific dread of being a black teenager in a public space when police arrive and someone has already made up their mind about who the problem is. He kept his hands visible. He kept his voice level. His mother had told him, "Calm, cooperative, and speak clearly." "Sir, this woman says she saw you steal a pair of shoes," Calloway said. He did not ask Marcus to explain what had happened. He did not ask Jerome Pittman what he had seen. He directed his question to Hollis. "Can you describe exactly what you witnessed?" and gave her the floor. Hollis described what she claimed to have seen in elaborate and confident detail. She said Marcus had taken the shoes from the shelf. She said he had removed the box art from the display. She said he had put the shoes directly on his feet. She said she had seen no transaction. She said it clearly. She said it like a person who believed every word they were saying. Marcus cut in. "I paid for them. I have the receipt right here." He reached slowly toward his front pocket and produced the folded slip. He handed it to Calloway. The timestamp read 2:04 p.m. The item listed was Air Jordan 4 Retro, size 10.5, $174.99. The payment method was cash. The cashier ID was JP114, Jerome Pittman's employee number. Calloway looked at the receipt. Then he looked at Hollis. Hollis said receipts could be old. Hollis said he might have grabbed the receipt from the trash or from a previous customer. Calloway nodded slowly, not in agreement, but in the way a person nods when they are searching for their next question. Jerome Pittman, who had been watching from behind the register counter 20 feet away, walked over. "I rung him up," Jerome said. "I handled that transaction personally. He paid cash. Full amount. I gave him the bag." He pointed at the Foot Locker bag between Marcus's feet. "That's our current bag design. Seasonal. We only got those in 2 weeks ago." There was a silence of approximately 4 seconds. Then Diane Hollis said she wasn't sure Jerome was telling the truth. Marcus felt the word before he could stop it. "Are you serious?" he said. His voice rose not aggressively, but with the cracked disbelief of a teenager who had just been told that his receipt and his cashier's eyewitness testimony were not enough to prove he had committed the crime of buying something in a store. A customer standing near the wall of sneakers spoke up. "I was in line behind him," she said. "I watched him pay." She held up her own phone. "I also have video." The woman, who would later be identified as Tamara Osei, a 34-year-old schoolteacher, had been recording from the moment Calloway walked in. She had 4 minutes and 22 seconds of footage on her phone. Calloway turned to Hollis. "Ma'am, we have a receipt. We have the cashier confirming the sale, and we have another witness who says she saw the transaction." Hollis said she still believed what she saw. "What you saw," Marcus said, his voice very quiet now, very controlled, "was a black kid trying on sneakers he'd just bought. That's it. That's the whole thing you saw." Calloway looked at his partner. Dunn had been watching Jerome Pittman's face throughout the exchange. Jerome hadn't flinched once. Dunn said quietly, "There's no crime here." Calloway closed his notepad. He told Hollis that there was no basis to detain or charge Marcus Webb and that the matter was resolved. Hollis stood in the aisle with her arms crossed for another 40 seconds, then walked out of the store without apologizing to anyone. Marcus sat back down on the bench. Jerome brought him a complimentary pack of shoe lace protectors and told him he was sorry. Marcus nodded. He put his old New Balances in the bag and carried the Foot Locker receipt home in his front left pocket, where it had been the entire time. He called his mother at 2:38 p.m. Linda Webb arrived at the store at 3:15 p.m. She spoke with Jerome Pittman for 11 minutes and with Kevin Tran for 22. She requested copies of the security camera footage under written notice before she left the building. She had a contact at a civil rights firm called Warren and Associates on speed dial before she reached the parking lot. The civil lawsuit was filed 6 weeks later. It named Diane Hollis as the primary defendant and cited 3 causes of action: false accusation leading to unlawful detention, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and violation of the Unruh Civil Rights Act, which prohibits discrimination in public accommodations in California. Tamara Osei provided her full video recording. The Foot Locker security system provided 47 minutes of HD footage from 2 angles covering the register, the bench area, and the front entrance. The footage showed, in total and without interruption, Marcus Webb's entire interaction with the store. The try-on, the transaction, the cash payment, the receipt, the bag, the bench. It showed Diane Hollis enter the store 11 minutes after Marcus had paid. It showed her spend 4 minutes watching Marcus from across the store before approaching the manager's station. Linda Webb's attorney, David Warren, deposed Diane Hollis for 3 hours. During the deposition, Hollis admitted she had not been present in the store when Marcus made his purchase. She admitted she had not seen him at the register. She admitted her account was based on what she described as a strong feeling developed from watching him from a distance. When asked what specifically had generated that strong feeling, Hollis was silent for 7 seconds, a silence the court reporter noted in the transcript, before saying she found his behavior suspicious. When asked what specific behavior, she said he had been looking at expensive shoes. Warren's response was a single sentence: "So was every other customer in the store." The security footage revealed something additional that deepened the case significantly. Between the moment Hollis approached Kevin Tran and the moment the officers arrived, there were 6 minutes during which Jerome Pittman had been within clear earshot of the manager's station. Jerome later testified that he had attempted to tell Tran about the transaction before Tran called the police, and that Tran had told him to hold on a minute. Tran confirmed this in his own deposition. He said he had intended to ask Jerome after calling for security, not before. Kevin Tran settled separately from Hollis, with Foot Locker's parent company contributing a written apology and a $15,000 payment to Marcus Webb's family, plus a new employee training protocol for handling customer theft allegations that required staff to consult all relevant transaction records before involving law enforcement. Diane Hollis's insurance company, after reviewing the deposition transcript, the security footage, and a pretrial damages assessment, settled the primary suit for $205,000 rather than proceed to a jury trial. Combined with Foot Locker's settlement, Marcus Webb received $220,000 in total. Hollis paid a portion of the settlement out of pocket after her homeowner's policy limits were exhausted. Her name, the footage, and the deposition excerpt in which she described a strong feeling generated by a teenager looking at expensive shoes were published in local news coverage of the settlement and shared more than 340,000 times across social media in the first week. Marcus Webb was 17 by the time the case resolved. He used $18,000 of his settlement to fund the first 2 years of a college savings account his mother helped him establish. He donated $5,000 to a Bay Area legal aid organization that provides free civil rights counsel to minors who cannot afford attorneys. He still has the receipt. The Air Jordan 4 Retro Bred sneakers sit in their original box on the top shelf of his closet. He has worn them exactly twice. He says they don't feel the same as he thought they would. Jerome Pittman was promoted to assistant manager at the Clement Street location 4 months after the incident. He said in an interview with a local outlet that the thing he remembered most clearly was that Marcus had counted out the cash in exact change, that it was obvious from watching him that he had been saving and that he knew the price down to the cent. You don't do that, Jerome said. If you're planning to steal something. Kevin Tran left Foot Locker and took a position in retail operations elsewhere. He has not commented publicly on the case since his deposition. Diane Hollis does not appear to have commented publicly at any point. The lesson is not complicated and it is not new. When you look at a black teenager in a store and feel, without evidence, without transaction knowledge, without a single fact to support it, that something is wrong, that feeling is not instinct. It is bias. And in California in the year 2024, that bias cost $220,000, produced a public deposition transcript read by hundreds of thousands of people, and gave a 16-year-old his first education in the price of other people's assumptions. Marcus Webb paid $189.99 for his sneakers. Diane Hollis paid considerably more for hers. If you believe a black teenager should be able to buy shoes without being accused of theft, share this story. If you've ever had your right to be somewhere questioned without cause, drop your experience in the comments. And if you think $220,000 is exactly the kind of consequence that makes people think twice before weaponizing police against children for the crime of shopping while black, subscribe because we're bringing you more stories where accountability costs exactly what it should.